This Amateur Radio Roundtable is brought to you in part by ICOM America. Good evening to all of our shortwave listeners, all of our viewers on the web tonight. Well, we've had some trouble. You know, we had a lot of storms come through the area, and I tested everything an hour before the show, and then right at showtime, boy, everything goes wrong. So we've got it back on. I think we're hanging in here pretty steady tonight. I think we got a good show for you tonight. Got some interesting things going on here, and we'll just jump right into it. Well, first, let me say this. Hello to Lord Robert up at WBCQ up in Monticello, Maine. They're our shortwave radio station. We're on 9330 every Tuesday night at this time. And if you're a shortwave listener out there, I'd like to invite you to join us at w5kub.com, and you can watch the video. You can watch the video and can also join in our chat room. My producer, Kathy, here says she's getting some echo, so I'm not sure where that's coming from, but we'll work on that. Thanks to Robert and Allen and everybody up at WBCQ up in Monticello, Maine. They're going to get 18 inches of snow here the next day or two. Boy, wouldn't you like to be up there? Let's see. Like to invite everybody to Facebook. Again, join us on Facebook at the top of our website there. There's a menu bar, and there's a link. There's an archive button where you can watch all the shows, all the previous shows. We've got a lot of interesting shows there. If you've missed them, you can go back and watch them there. And if you're out there and a shortwave listener, we'd really love to hear from you. Send us an email to tom@.com and where you heard this. Let's jump right to the show. Boy, Katie is back with us tonight. Our KUB personnel fund days off for the year. Although on December 31st they will reset again, so she's going to start over again. I guess she's one of those employees that waits till the end of the year and then takes all her personal days and sick days and vacation days and whatever days But anyway, she's back with us. So Katie, how you doing, Katie?
Well, hi, Tom. I'm doing well. Good to see you here tonight, and happy to see everybody in the chat room, and hello to everybody who's listening to Shortwave this evening. Good to be back.
All right.
You ready for? Oh, sorry.
All right. No. Just you didn't hear. You didn't hear the applause. You did not hear the applause coming from the studio here. I mean, talk about, I thought we were going to have a riot here. Well, anyway, hey, welcome back. And you got a couple things going tonight. Tell us who your guest is on here tonight, and also what we're going to be talking about in the next segment. And then let me just put a little teaser out there. In the third segment tonight, we're going to look at that BITX, that BITX $45 transceiver that my first contact was 8,600 miles on 40 meter sideband. So back to you, Kim.
So good to be back here with everybody tonight on the Amateur Radio Roundtable. I've missed you all. I apologize that I've been out for a period of time, but looking forward to tonight. Our guest is Moseson W2VU from CQ Mag, his handsome Dougal, and then after. In the next issue of CQ, I've got a presentation for you tonight. Some of you who follow the book know that we recently I put lots of photo montage essentially from start to that I about it. I'm just going to pass the mic to him and let him answer. So, but in the meantime, see what's going on. How are you doing? Nice to see you,
Katie and Rich. Let me interrupt just for a second. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we've got some internet issues here, and while you were talking, the lights turned red. But that's not your fault. I think it's in the area here now. It looks like it's working now. So Let's go
I
back.
hope I don't have
Let's
to
just
make
try.
that up
Let's
again.
go with it and see what happens here. There's not a lot I can do right now. So you just introduced Rich. So you guys go ahead and take it away. And if it just gets really bad, I'll jump in here.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, let's start that again. Good evening to you, Rich and Mr. Dougal. How are you guys tonight?
We are great, thank you. Yes. So, this keeps me in line here in the New York area today. We've had like 3 inches here, and we desperately need it. So we're very happy about that, even though it did. And Tom, are you anywhere near that awful fire in the Great Smoky Mountains, or are you at the other end of the state?
Well, we're at the other end of the state, although we do have a home up in the Smoky Mountains. But I think, Kathy, how far is the fire from our home over there? Probably 80 miles. Well, it's probably 80 miles away.
Well, I'm glad that your place seems safe, and we're really watching out for all the people in the fire area there who are in danger or being forced out of their homes. It's really bad. But moving on to more pleasant things like the December issue of CQ. It's our annual technology special, and we've got some really cool stuff. We're, as usual, kind of trying to cover the map in terms of ham radio technology and not focusing on just one aspect of it. One of the things that's coming up more and more frequently is 630 meters, and getting prepared for whenever the FCC hopefully decides to actually give us the band to use. So our tech special starts out this month with an article on tuning up for 630 meters in terms of a station and antennas by monitoring aircraft beacons, non-directional beacons that operate in the same frequency range, and it can help improve your skills at listening. It's a tough area to listen in, and take some special skill development. We've also got an article on using a single chip FPGA, field programmable gate array, as a repeater controller. And all sorts of really cool things that you can do with these little chips that in one chip you can put an entire piece of equipment that used to take up a lot of space. So it's pretty amazing what you can do with these.
Will that function like the dongles essentially, or is it a way that you can, or is it like a mini computer, like a Raspberry Pi type of a thing, or?
It's on a circuit board. It's not a own computer that you on a chip that you build onto a circuit board. It's not something that you plug into a laptop.
Okay.
But basically has all of the functions that you would need to operate a repeater controller, which is pretty amazing.
That is cool.
Yeah. We have a visit from Sherlock Holmes in this issue, talking about investigating failure in electronics, when things break, how to track down and investigate why they've broken and what you can do about them. We go back in time to the 1950s with a cool article on building a classic novice station of 1956 from parts available today. And
oh, no kidding. Oh, that'll be fun to read. I'm looking forward to that.
It's really cool. Plus our annual visit to the Maker Faire here in New York City. And I was a little disappointed in it this year.
Were you?
Yeah, the title I gave the article is "Have Big Time Maker Fairs Lost Their Way?" I'm comparing it with a local mini maker fair that I attended in Newark, New Jersey, which seemed to be much more on the mark in terms of what the whole maker movement is about, bringing technology and curiosity about how things work and how to build things to the average person. And so that's
I saw a discussion about a maker fair fairly recently. I think it was on one of the Facebook groups, and it might have even been you that piped up in there, or it might have been the the ARL Public Relations Reflector. Someone had been to a maker fair fairly recently and had some really very constructive criticism about it, that lacking of two people to do, but they provided some ideas about things you could do in the future. And maybe that, I don't know if that was you, but I'll have to dig that up. But I think that was really very helpful information. I wish I could remember a little bit more about it, but I think that's a challenge we face with ham radio in general, is how to make ourselves appealing to the public when we're out and about at a fair, whether it's a maker fair or the county fair. So I think that'll be interesting for people to look at, especially for people that are in clubs that are trying to find ways to be able to draw new people in. And we're always looking, obviously, to bring more people into the hobby.
Well, I think the maker movement in general is a fantastic opportunity for hams and ham clubs in particular to do things, though I hate that word, between the maker groups. That it's just a natural fit to do things involved in maker groups and get things that makers are doing outside of ham radio more involved with what the ham clubs are doing. It really is a natural fit. And but again, this is working on the local level, and in the mini maker fair area much better, in my view, than it is on the big fairs that seem 99% out to just make a lot of money, which is great, but let's not something. Other stuff we have in this issue, we've got a micro de-expedition to Bhutan, the A5A operation, and a really, really cool story on a special event station celebrating the Navajo code talkers of World War II.
Oh.
Yeah. What makes it, and what made this extra special, this is a station that's been on the air for several years as a special event station, and this year they were able to find I guess it was either the son or the grandson of one of the code talkers who is a ham and who came out and participated in the special event station. So that was extra for them.
Well, hey, Rich, I got an email today with all the things that are coming out in CQ. It seemed like it was like 10 or 12 just really neat articles, and I don't have it in front of me, but there were a bunch of them I'm really interested in. I was going to ask you about them tonight, but I don't have it in front of me. But
well,
man, there's some good stuff. There's some good things coming in here next month.
Segment this month.
Well, of course, there's a kit building article. Joe always has one of those, and he's talking about crystal sets. And our QRP column, some really good tips for every station, not just a QRP station. Back in the technology special area, our learning curve column introduces software-defined radio for those who are new to it. And we have a second SDR article. Our antennas column talks about SDR and antenna filters. We've got, let's see, the VHF column talks about the UHF contest, which was kind of a one-off this year because the ARRL temporarily dropped its sponsorship for this year, and it was picked up by another group, which apparently had a very successful run with it. And now the league is going to resume sponsorship under a slightly different title in terms of reference next year. So we'll see if it goes back into being that, or if we have two different UHF contests.
Yeah, I remember now a couple of things. I think there's an article in here. Hera is a lot of things. So if some souvenirs, right? Read about it in CQ, and you can figure out.
There's an auction that was held. Actually, I guess it was an in-person auction. I don't. And online, it's let's see. It started on Thanksgiving and it runs through tomorrow. So if you are interested in stuff, you can probably still get in on the bidding if you go over to the Hara Arena website. You can,
Yeah, I'm thinking about ordering one of those ceiling tiles. Yeah.
stained.
Yeah. Hey, there's another thing. I don't know if it's in January or the December issue, but I think there's a story from the UK where now they're talking about how ham radio is harmful to the neighbors.
Yeah, that was also from the January news. There was a program. There's a program on one of the TV stations in the UK called "The Neighbor from Hell" or something like that. I forget exactly the title of it, but it's about horrible neighbors and the horrible things that they do. And there was this one program that was focused on a ham, and the neighbors complaining that the RF from his antenna was endangering their health. And of course, there have been untold dozens of studies about RF effects on health, and nothing has ever been shown to have a negative impact. I've often said, judging by the number of 80 and 90-year-old hams among us, maybe it has some good health effects because
Yeah.
a lot of very healthy, very older hams. So maybe it does good things for you. But yeah, the RSGB, the Radio Society of Great Britain, filed a complaint with the station because they had not been consulted about this and tried to, then Ofcom, which is the British equivalent of the FCC, had never had a problem with this guy's station, and they just felt that it was a very biased and unbalanced look, and offered to provide some technical assistance in the future.
Yeah, they need it. Yeah.
But
We were looking at the website.
as interesting as the December issue. So
Dwayne was pulled up the link for that auction at Hara, and it sounded like, or looks like they're auctioning absolutely everything, even like the ladies' room signs or food signs. It's just amazing. I guess maybe some folks that went there for years, or the locals that went to the hockey games or something, maybe were interested in something like that, but I can't imagine.
I wonder if they charge extra for decontamination.
I don't know.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I heard that.
Well, it sounds like an awesome issue, and I'm looking forward to mine. I've got the digital subscription, and just waiting for mine to show up in my inbox, and looking forward to being a regular reader. And if anybody is interested, obviously they can always go to your website at cq-amateur-radio, and on the left there is the subscribe option. A print issue, you could get print and digital. Or I also noticed you can $100.
Yeah, we've got a specials going.
Tell the people
Focused on the specifics of it, but I
and of course, if you happen to be by one of your local HRO stores, you can pick a copy up there as well. Saw those hanging out on the shelves when I visited some of the stores recently. So, well, is there anything else you'd like to throw in there before we continue on with our segments?
just that I hope everybody had a Thanksgiving, and look forward to the holiday season coming up. And I guess we'll be back here, well, in between. So at the end of December, and a very happy New Year as well.
Sounds great, Rich. Thanks so much,
All
and
right.
happy Hanukkah. Good night. I'm seeing that on the chat room that people.
It pretty much stayed up that entire segment. Doing real good now. I could body out there.
Hey guys, from the league, really
Yeah.
pretty.
Okay, Katie, if you can check
Yep.
there, let's see if we're back up.
Oh, I don't even. I turned it off to
Oh, did you? Okay,
minimize my.
we can do that here too.
Yeah.
Your picture looks better actually now. Let's see.
Okay.
All right, for everybody out there listening on shortwave on 9330, we're having a few internet problems tonight, but hopefully good old shortwave is getting through to everybody. Again, if you want to try to watch, go to w5kub.com. Okay, we're back on, and I dropped the bit rate way down. We're about we're less than half of what we normally run, but hey, if it goes through, that's better than it not going through. So anyway, now, hey, Katie, you know, when I posted something the other day about your new tower, but I was corrected that maybe it's not totally your new tower. What's going on there? And who's that guy in the yellow back there?
Well, this is my husband Dwayne WY7FD, and we are in our shack here tonight, and it's our tower, I guess. I guess I'll have to relinquish some of the ownership of it, but since he did the lion's share of putting it up, I guess he gets to claim most of it, but I will be utilizing it, that's for sure.
Well, all right. So now I thought you already had a tower up. How many towers do you have now?
Well, this is now number 2, right?
Oh, wow. 2. So one's not good enough for you. 2 or maybe 3.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Oh, and we also have a tower outside of our garage that's laying down right now, but in the springtime, that's going back up with a big 6-meter beam on the top of it. We had started putting it up this summer and discovered our rotor was not functioning as we wanted. So that came down until we could get it up and running. So that will be that'll be number 4 for towers. But you know, you might be able to see some of the plaques on the 5 towers. So you might notice some of the plaques on the wall behind us. We do like to contest here in our home shack. So you know, what better way to, you know, put your signal out there a little better, but to get a little bit higher up there. So that's why we added this extra tower into the yard. And luckily where we live, we don't have a homeowners association, and we live in the county, so we don't have any particular town rules to follow. So up it went.
Well, that's cool. And here we were. You thought you only had one, maybe 2 towers, and after questioning you, you end up having 5 towers.
I know, that's why I said he should be in the shack with me.
Yeah.
Tonight. So otherwise, I give bad information.
Well, hey, that tower you put up, is that like Ron 45? That's a little bit heavier tower, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a Roan 45. The 48-foot tower we have up to now, which we put up while we weren't even owners of this house yet. We were renting here, and we asked the gal that owned the house, we're like, do you mind if we put some concrete in the ground and put a tower up? She's like, no, have at it. And that's the HDBX48. That's also a Roan product.
That's cool. All right,
Yeah.
well, hey, you got some good pictures to show us?
Yeah, I sure do. Let me share the screen. I put together a presentation
All
for
right,
you.
let's look at them.
Oops.
And
we'll
hey, are you getting you got any snow out there?
Yeah, oh yeah, we got 2 feet of snow today.
2 feet
literally today.
Well.
All right, let's see here. We share screen.
I'm glad you got your tower up before the snow.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's see. Okay, start. All right, I'll give it a second for it to kick in. Well, you know, we're there's Bill N7QAX. Why don't we just use Devil's Tower? Yeah, Bill is in this presentation tonight. He was an integral part of our tower going up in the air. So, all right. So, are you able to see it? Okay.
Yeah. Let me try to adjust it a little here, just to get it in a picture. I think I can do a little bit better. There we go. All right, go right ahead. Looking good. What? That's not a fire back there, is it?
No, that was sunset recently, and I thought the timing was great, and it caught my windows on on our deck there, the sliding glass door in the living room window, and it looks like it's on fire. It's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
So this was so let me just dive right on in. This all started actually 3 years ago when we acquired the tower from a friend of ours, Leo WY7YL, who became suddenly a silent key, and so we had purchased his towers. In order to help out his wife and also obviously to help out our shack. But Leo was a regular member here of our contesting team and a very good friend of ours. So in a way, it's Leo's in our yard with us now here too. So well, let's get rolling. So today we have 2 feet of snow in the yard, but this all started back in about, what was that, August? Yeah, back in August, we actually still had some green grass here. And we started to dig the first hole for our tower. And our buddy Dan and 7WYO was kind enough to haul his John Deere over for us, and so that we could utilize that to dig in, which turned out to be a really good thing because we have really rocky soil down there. And so once we got started, as you can see, all of that rock that was there, and then that was the tower that was stacked up in the backyard that had been off in our driveway, and that was a discussion I had with Dwayne earlier in the summer. I said, all right, we really need to get this out of the driveway and up in the yard, and we need to do it by the end of the summer or else. So we made it happen. And I saw earlier tonight in the chat room, someone said, I thought you lived on a ranch. And we don't. We actually live on about a third of an acre, maybe. Ish. Yeah, it's about a third of an acre, but there's obviously you can see all the cattle. We have a ranch behind us that one of our local ranchers actually leases out the space for his cattle about every other year or so. And there's one of our cats, Downy, coming to check things out. So we got started digging the hole and just couldn't get any further with it. The rock was so horrendous. And so on Saturday morning, made a run over to Spearfish and picked up a jackhammer. And 5 minutes later, the rock was cut through, and we were able to continue on. And as you can see, we ended up with quite a large pile of rock and dirt by the end of it. So once the full hole was dug, Peekaboo, of course, had inevitably when there's a cat in a hole, somebody's going to jump in. So that's our little Peekaboo. She's our youngest cat. She's a couple of years old now, but she's still my kitten. And so she went in and jumped out. And then we got the tower set into the hole. As you can see, Dwayne built a frame around, and then also the rebar is in there. It's kind of hard to see in the photo a bit, which is why I put that big old arrow, just so you could kind of check out what was happening in the hole there. I don't know, did you need to use any special wood for your frame, or?
Just pine wood.
Just pine wood for the frame before the concrete comes in. So also, obviously, with the 100-foot tower is not a freestanding like our 48-foot tower, so we needed to have guy posts put in. So off on the left is in the backyard way in the back corner of our yard. I kind of call it the back 40 because it's where all the rock and other things from the first tower are still piled up, and you can see off into our neighbor's backyard. And then over the right is almost directly out behind our back door, but that's where the second guy post got all shored up. This was some of the prep work that was done prior to it. And then out in our front yard, there was a big hole. We had a cat litter bucket sitting in the hole for a long time, just so our neighbor Dan or any of the other folks, when they delivered propane, wouldn't fall in it by accident, or just walking around and visiting. But so there's our 3 guy posts. So we've got them all in place now and ready to go. And so here comes the big day when the concrete gets delivered. And as I said in the photo here, it's better than the ice cream truck showing up on your street when you see that big concrete truck pulling around the corner.
Now, was he able to drive back to the hole, or did you have to carry it back there in a wheelbarrow?
Oh, no, he got it. You'll see.
Oh, I see
he
there,
goes
yeah.
way back into the yard. It's pretty amazing what he did.
Yeah.
So here's the first shots of the concrete coming into the yard. This picture on the left was as it was about to start pouring, And then here's the first, on the right is the first bit of, actually quite a bit of the concrete coming in. And the instrument that Dwayne is holding there is of
Vibrator.
It is a vibrator, which I didn't really understand that process. It was the first time I'd really seen that, because I don't remember it being used when we put our first tower in. It's possible, but it was really kind of neat to see how it pulls all the air bubbles out.
Yeah.
And then while we were doing it, I decided to go on Facebook Live and stream the process. So I thought that was kind of just a goofy, fun photo to show off. But we had a ton of people that popped in and were asking questions while the whole process was going on. It was actually a lot of fun to do the live segment while the guys were all working hard. Our friend Dan, who lives across the street from us, came over to help out, threw on his muck boots, and as you can see, he obviously was better with the weather than we were. Dwayne's got his heavy jacket on, and Dan pops over in his shorts.
Katie, did he actually come over and say, "Can I give you any help?" Or did he come over and say, "What the heck are you guys doing over here?"
Oh no, he came over ready to help, but says, "Hey, I'm here to help, and can I help?" And we said, "Absolutely." We're really lucky. We have that kind of neighborhood. Whenever there's projects going on, you know, one July 4th weekend, we helped Dan and his wife Melissa build a fence. He came over, as well as our other neighbors, Gene and Kathy, and his wife Melissa, and we all painted my mom's yard and put a new roof, painted her house, and put a roof on, and helped with other projects. So, and every time we have ham stuff going on out in the yard, Dan's usually the first one over to help. And so he's our neighbor, but he's also a good friend. So as you can see, the truck backed up way into the yard. We kind of had, in another photo, you'll see we set boards down over the wires that go out to the other tower. But basically, out to those two guy posts, the concrete came out, and then it had to be wheelbarrowed over. So there was some labor involved for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a good shot back at that way back 40 where the concrete's coming down, and Dwayne found if he kind of basically was down on his knee like that, just stood up and was able to haul off the concrete fairly easily. So at the end of it, there's Dan out front right after the front guy post was setting up a bit. You can see some of the tire tracks, and he's got his tools in his yard. And hey, there's a nosy neighbor over there watching out her window.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Sorry, Mom. Just kidding. That's my mom watching everything that's happening.
Oh, okay.
But I couldn't resist that one. I'm going to get yelled at tomorrow, I'm sure. And that's WY7MOM over there. And so, yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. Hopefully I don't get a phone call later. And, yeah, we're working on Dan to become a ham. Someone just asked in the chat room if he's interested. And I think after this project, we might have just hooked him. So of course, concrete goes in the ground, and now we have to wait a month. So after waiting patiently, we finally picked a day, and there it is, our first day to start raising the tower. As you can see, it was really not the nicest day outside. There's a lot of fog and mist in the background. Oh, Mom just said in the chat room tonight she might yell at me. And so I just thought I'd throw some call signs out there to let people know who's out there. But there's N7QAX, Dwayne, and then KF7ZQM is Lauren, and WI7JB here in Sundance, and Dan, of course, and then Tom W7ETR. He's a regular with us on our field day operations, and then a family friend, Rod, came over to check this out and participate as well. Jeff asked a question in the chat room before we go on. What is the point of the wood box frame in the tower hole, and is the rebar not enough? So I'm going to let Dwayne pop into that.
Okay, Jeff.
No, stay right where you are.
What we did was we put the rebar down deep in the hole, and the wood box is just to finish it out so that it comes out of the ground in a nice square box rather than all over the place. It just makes it neater on top of the ground. That's all.
Okay. See, that's why I wanted him in the shack with me for the presentation. It helps to answer those questions. Okay, so basically the guys are getting everything organized, and there's the beginning of the tower going up, and I just kind of was attempting to be artistic with my camera and taking a shot down the tower before the first piece went up. But so we're getting ready to go, and they're getting everything lined up and getting it all plumb, and also getting the mast in good shape there. Tom and Rod were helping hold things up. I'm not even sure who was holding the other wire as we went, but we did put it awfully close to our apple tree, and it was a good thing Dan had a hood on his jacket because he ended up, as you can see, kind of hanging out there. But as they got everything organized, if you look closely, you can see Bill N7QAX. He's got the drill going on there, just getting the last pieces in. I think they were actually, if you look, it's hard to see maybe for you guys, but they were actually putting a piece of like a U-bolt, or I don't know what you call it. Just tell me what it's called.
Okay, we had to lift up the mast, the internal mast, because you don't want to have to stand 26 feet of pipe up on top of a 100-foot tower. So we stand that up in the tower to start with, and then we lift it up through the middle of it when we need it, which will be this spring. What we did is we strapped that to the tower section with a pipe clamp, one of those, just a standard stainless steel hose pipe clamp, strapped it on in 3 places, and then lifted it up so it all come up as one unit. We lifted it up and set it in the hole, and then we unstrapped it. And what they're doing right now is they're taking that loose because we need to get that tower section up another 8 inches, and we don't want to have to lift that heavy bar. That thing weighs 130 pounds, so we decided we'd leave it where it was.
Yeah, and that was actually a pipe that we acquired from a friend who owns a oil.
That came from the plant.
Oh, okay, never mind. I thought that was something else. Okay. Also, excuse me, we just had another question pop up. Why bury the tower rather than use a base plate on top of the concrete? I'm bringing the questions out because for those folks that are listening on shortwave, I'm not going to assume you're in the chat room. So just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to wonder what we're doing with the questions here. So burying it versus just using a base plate.
Okay, if you use a base plate, you got to buy the base plate. We already had the tower section. It's a standard method. It's actually what most people do around this area. So there's 5 feet of tower in the ground. We had one little 5-foot section that's sitting there. Actually, it's 6 foot long. You see a foot of it sticking out of the ground. It's just that what we had on hand, rather than buying that base plate, we can put it in the ground, and it does the same job.
Okay. So while they were getting the last bits drilled in together, kind of made a little joke there. Here with the shovel, that's Bill N7QAX. He works for the state of Wyoming, and so of course I had to make a joke about the local the state workers hanging out leaning on a shovel. So then Rod had to get in on the action and lean on the post, and it was just a little bit of fun, goofing around before everybody got really busy. So here comes our first installation, and now it's time to start climbing the tower. Bill's all suited up, and Dwayne's getting his climbing gear on, and off we go. So, as I mentioned in an earlier segment, when you saw the big concrete truck in the backyard, and I mentioned how we put the wood boards down to protect the wires, is if you notice down here in this photo on the bottom left, those are the boards that I was mentioning to provide the protection. So you can see it really wasn't this best day outside temperature-wise or weather-wise. It was a little misty at the beginning, but the weather definitely did improve as the day went on. Tom WY7KY, our buddy down in the southern part of Wyoming, wants to know how we tension the guys into what pressure. So
well, it looks like you had a fairly decent day to put this up. I mean, Katie, Dwayne, I mean, I can remember a time I had 100 feet of tower up, and I had a friend over, and it was covered in ice, and we climbed it to put 2 repeater antennas on it. And my friend was at the top, and he had his hands in his pocket, and he was up there for a long time. I said, "Bob, are you okay?" He said, "I'm just warming my hands." And he actually he swallowed a lock washer while he was up there.
How the heck did he do that?
I don't know. So nothing like that's happened on this one, right?
No, definitely not. I think the worst thing that happened was a carabiner fell to the ground a couple of times or something.
Yeah.
But so as you can see on the right photo here, is the first piece is his third piece is going up, and Lauren on the ground is helping guide it up, and Bill and Dwayne are up the tower. And the first photo on the left, I think, is right after they were, or actually just before getting the gin pole. And sorry, I had a brain fart there. Getting the gin pole on and ready to go. So getting ready, and there we go. So as we continued on, we had our first guy line. I might have put a couple things out of order, but was trying to get as much stuff in here as we could. But it got a little trickier as the tower went up a little bit more, getting those pieces up past the guy lines. But we were able to get them up there. Just had to maneuver a little bit. And it's a little bit more closer up shots as you can see it getting closer. And from the ground perspective, it was really interesting to watch because, almost looks like they're hovering in the air as these pieces are being raised up towards them. And there's Dwayne lifting up the next piece. I thought that was a really fun shot to see. I mean, it looks like it's, he looks like it's lifting up something that weighs just a few pounds, but I know after moving those from the driveway to the backyard, they're pretty heavy, but I think some of it's just about angle and what have you, but it's pretty strong dude too. But meanwhile, in the ground, there's Lauren and Dan are getting ready to get the guy wire pieces together. I'm not sure what's the technical term for those. Is there a technical term?
I don't know.
Oh, all right, we don't know. But this thing was a pain in the neck to get put together. But once we got the gist of it, then it was much easier to do. No, Bill, I never did do any climbing. Excuse me. So one of the other things I thought was kind of neat is one of our members down here in our division, Chris KF7P down in Utah, has this product called the Yellow Jack. And we were looking at it in Dayton one year, and I just thought I would share this bit of information because this was a really great tool. The guys really were happy to have this, and I thought maybe Dwayne could give a quick explanation of how it works.
Well, the Yellow Jack is an indispensable tool when you put up a tower, especially a used tower. These things get jostled around in transport, and they don't line up exactly right. So the Yellow Jack has a way of lining up pieces and pulling it down. You can jack pieces apart, or you can pull pieces together with it. So it's just a fantastic little piece of tooling, and it was worth every penny I spent on it plus the shipping. I guarantee you, if you're putting up a used tower, you need to have one of these jacks.
I agree with that 100%. You've got to sometimes jack those things apart, man.
Right, and I'll have Chris send me a check for this announcement.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
I looked it out on the website, and that particular item is $165. And I tell you what, I know it won't be the last time we use it, so it was a great tool. And he's always at Dayton, and he'll be at Visalia this year. So if you go to either of those conventions, you can check it out.
Yeah, Bill wrote down, saved us a bunch of time, and he was right. That thing saved enormous amounts of time on every joint. We used it on every joint but 3.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I have a little bit of a cough here. So, and then up on the tower, this is the guys were getting the guy all set in place. And every now and then I was able to zoom in and get some decent shots. I have to say, I love taking photos. Photography is my second favorite hobby besides ham radio. But honestly, I don't normally take pictures of people. That's not my thing. I like taking pictures of nature and cows and cats, things like that. But so
I have a question. I've got a question here, Katie, for you and Dwayne. I see on the guy wires, you use looks like a guy wire bracket instead of just putting the guy wire on the tower. Is that because it came with the tower when you got it, or is that something you specifically wanted to do?
Yes, Tom, it did come with the tower, but you want to do that because it adds a little bit of leverage. When you take a 40-meter 2-element beam and put on top of this thing, it's 37 feet long, sticking out there, and when it stops or starts up, it has the tendency to twist and torsion the tower a bit. So if you put those brackets on, they tend to hold the tower a little more straight and keep it from twisting when you're braking or starting it up. If you hook it directly to the leg, like a lot of people do, you lose about 4 inches of leverage on that thing. And Ron says this is perfectly good. They made some star brackets for these things that actually put it out further, but they said you don't need them on 45.
Excuse me. Okay. So one thing it's, whenever I put pictures of the tower up, inevitably, depending on where I'm standing or how I take the photo, it always looks like the tower is leaning or crooked. But I can tell you for sure it's level, and you can see every new every new section that was placed, they check the level on every side in every way. So we know for sure it was set, but I just thought that'd be kind of a fun little shot to show off with Bill checking the level there. And then down on the ground, the guys, there's Tom and Dan working on getting the guy line attached. And this was quite a tricky piece. They had a little bit of a tough time initially to get it to match up and fit. Had to really put quite a bit of elbow grease into it. And Dan definitely got a workout on his elbows and hands and wrists that day. But and then Tom's ready with the screw ready to go. But so that was a shot when he finally could easily put that bolt in piece, and they actually were like, "Ooh, relieved it's in there now." So, continuing on, we've got a little coffee break in there. So, of course, can't be complete slave drivers for all of our friends
Katie,
that are coming to help.
Can you can you go back one picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah, if you're looking at the guy wire there, you notice they're using that little device that you were explaining a while ago. I think it's called a dead end or something. And that cable, the cable there is actually twisted. There are no clamps. Is that right?
You're right, Tom. You don't put clamps on. I made that mistake already on this poly strand, fill strand. If you put a clamp on it, it damages the sheath. So I've got to replace a piece already. I put a clamp on it mistakenly, and it was not the right choice. So we already have a piece that we got to pull out. I've got the replacement pieces, but it will last through the winter. It's just got a damaged sheath. The inside's just as good.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. So, and as the afternoon goes on, we're setting up the second guy. There's the bracket going up for the second one. And it's getting a little dark, and in the meantime, the guys there's Lauren and Dan working on bringing the guy line out to the backyard piece. And this one took all three of them because it was a little bit, because of the elevation of the yard there, it's a little bit higher on that side, and Lauren's the tallest one of the crowd there. And but working together, of course, they got it all hooked up and ready to go. So as we're watching and getting that last piece up there, I was really getting nervous because it was really kind of getting dark up there, and I mistakenly shone the big flashlight up towards them thinking I could help. Meanwhile, I got yelled at by by Dwayne and Bill that I was blinding them, so I stopped helping. But yeah, it got really dark, and we decided we were done for the day. So we waited a week.
Now, okay, there we go.
And Sunday was the next, was the next day to be able to finish the installation. Pardon me. So when the guys climbed up to the top, obviously now we have about 70, was it 70 feet when we started? Yeah, 70 feet started on that Sunday. And I came out of the house with the camera, and Tom was propped up, kind of leaning on one of the tower sections to be able to see what was going up on top. I just thought that was kind of a fun photo. And it was a little windy that day. We were, obviously, those of us on the ground were nervous, and I'm sure they were not very happy about it up there. That rope up there really was like, a windsock, keeping an eye on how fast that wind was going up there. Yeah. But fortunately, there was a lot less work to do that night. And up goes another section. And in the meantime, now Dan and Tom were finishing up the final section on the ground, which is the top piece, getting it ready. Any of the last minute things that needed to be done. And Dwayne I'm not sure what Dan was doing over there, but let's see, I'm waiting for the picture to catch up. My mom's cat, Gilly, went over to give him a little bit of help as well. So, no projects are complete in our QTH without some feline assistance. So now here we go on the left, the top section. Here's our last piece. It's headed up to the top. And as you notice, it's a much prettier day, even though it was windy. We had beautiful blue sky that day. And there's Dwayne grabbing that last piece, ready to get it to cinch up and settle it. And So he was doing the last minute adjustments, and there's a N7QAX headed back down towards the ground, which I think based on the wind, he was probably happy to get back on terra firma by the time that day was over. So I walked down the street just to kind of see some of the view. Excuse me, and pardon me. Sorry, guys. So this was just up the street a few houses. I just thought that was kind of a neat view. And then getting the last guy in place, and looks like the gin pole's coming undone to be sent down to us. And it's done. There's everybody just looking up and going, oh, wow, there it is. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a 100-foot tower.
Wow.
There's Dwayne cracked out on the ground checking it out. So there's a view actually standing in the front yard of my mom's house, WY7 Mom. In the midst of all of this, on our weekend that we weren't working on the tower, we also painted our house. So if anybody was very observant, you might have noticed the process started with a blue house and finished with a green one. But so this is a tower before any of the antennas have been added. Excuse me. We've after everybody's help, Dwayne has since been up there and has added a few antennas, which we'll talk about in a minute. But we couldn't have done this without our friends, and just want to be able to give a quick public thanks to Tom W7ETR, Dan N7WYO, Lauren KF7ZQM, Jerry WY7JB, our friends Rod, and Dan, of course. We couldn't have done it without you guys. And Bill N7QAX, our tower climber extraordinaire, who was there both weekends without hesitation, helping us out climbing up there. And I'm sorry, Tom was there both weekends as well. So a huge thanks to all of you guys. We couldn't have done it without you. Excuse me. Pardon me.
Well, very impressive. Wow. It looks good.
So, yeah. So in the meantime, we have, as I mentioned, we've had added 3 antennas to the tower. We've added 5. See, once again, I don't know what I'm talking about. And let me turn off the sharing here, Tom, if I can remember how to do this.
Hit the plus at the bottom.
Oh, there it is.
Hit the plus.
And, oops, I hit the wrong thing. Cancel. Sorry, guys, a little technical here. Got to get to the right window. There we go. And stop sharing.
There you go.
Ah, there we are.
Wow.
I had to grab a Rickle in the middle of it. I was losing my voice here.
You guys, hey, I'm out of breath, and you guys made me tired just watching that.
Well, I was going to let him tell you guys about what antennas have been placed up there so far. So while I try to get my voice back here.
All right, I'm ready for this.
Going to put obviously on top of this thing, this spring it goes up a 2-element 40-meter beam, and a 204BA, which is a 4-element 20-meter beam. Above that, turned 90 degrees, and at 80 feet, we're putting another 4-element 20-meter beam for a stack. So we'll have a stack on 20, 40 on top. We already have now 160 meter at 100 feet. We have a 75 meter at 65 feet, an 80 meter at 90 feet, a 40 meter at 60 feet, a 30 meter and a 17 meter are both down at got to count them up. That's 6 antennas, and they're down at 50 feet. So we're already using the tower, even though we don't have the meat of that thing up yet. That center mast is still strapped to the side of the tower, and we'll just lift that up with the Jeep. The Jeep has a winch on it. Our buddy Dan, N7WYL, has a nice little winch on the front of his Jeep, and that thing is a godsend when it goes to lifting up this stuff. So we'll use that this spring, lift that mast right up through the center of it, build the 20 meter, then lift it up some more, and build the 40 meter, and then lift it up some more, and put the rotator under it, so everything can be done without having to climb up on top of the tower. We're looking forward to a new construction method. I've never done it like this, but I've heard people tell me how to do it.
Well, probably the next easy way to do it would be with a helicopter. If you go any bigger, you know.
You want to send the money over to pay for
Yeah.
Well, no, you're just going to have a neighbor out there on the ranch that has a helicopter.
Yeah, that would be nice. But I tell you what, that on the second week when we borrowed Dan's Jeep with that winch on the front, that made all the difference getting those last sections way up top. That was, otherwise, the first time we sent a piece up, Tom had the rope wrapped around himself to kind of help balance everything, and I thought he was gonna end up sliding across the yard, but it worked out pretty good.
Well, that's great. Take more pictures as you get that thing finished.
Yeah, I certainly will. We continue to do so, but I could have, killed you guys with photos and a lot more, but I didn't want to, take 3 hours of, the same pictures of the tower along the way, but thought I'd at least kind of tell the story of putting the tower up and all that was involved. And again, this was definitely not a project we could have done by ourselves. We couldn't have done it without the help of our friends, and it was a fun project. And our next major project is cleaning up the ham shack and getting some of our new local hams over here to get them introduced to ham radio and trying out some on-air time, and hopefully get them convinced to upgrade so they can play on HF. And I think we need to drop off a tech manual over to Dan next door, don't you think, Dwayne?
Yeah.
I think we're going to drop off a book because he needs to get his license. I think that's about it.
Well, maybe that will give him a lot more interest to do that.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the opportunity to be able to share that with everybody. And if anybody has any other questions, feel free to just keep throwing them in the chat room, and we'll just answer them in there so that we can get on to hear about your projects. I'm excited to hear about your BITX there, or however.
Okay,
you
well,
that.
very good. Well, thank you both, Katie and Dwayne, for coming on here tonight and showing us that. And Katie, you're going to have to be on the next 10 shows straight, no absence. I mean, you can't do it.
Oh man.
So we're gonna do that, and we need to find a spot there for Dwayne there. Make him a roving reporter or something.
All right, there you go.
Put him to work. Put him to work.
Oh, it's fun. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and hang up with you, and we'll just do the rest of the show. It looks like the internet pretty much stabilized at this speed we're running. I don't know what our quality is, but I haven't seen really any real complaints. So hopefully the quality is good enough, and maybe we can get the internet functioning a little bit better. Probably all the major storms we've had through here in the past few days is probably affecting the internet somewhere. So
yeah, probably
we'll see.
Hey, Tom?
Yes.
Oh.
You're not close to the fires, are you?
No, that was
no. They're out in eastern Tennessee. We're in western Tennessee. We're at the very opposite end of the state, and of course it's about they're about 400 miles from us. We do have a home over in the Smoky Mountains, probably about 80 miles from the fire. So that's, and it's it's in the mountains and in the woods, the forest. So I tell Kathy all the time that a forest fire through there would not be good for the house, but people choose to live back there.
Okay, well, good luck with that, Tom.
Yeah, okay. Well, 73 hey, great job, and take some more pictures. Let's see it as it gets completed here. And Katie, I guess maybe you guys are going to stay in a chat room or something, or?
Yeah, we'll hang out for a little while longer.
All right, very good. Okay, we will see you guys later. Goodbye.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, well, that was, boy, didn't that tower look really good? I mean, they did a great job putting that tower up. That was a lot of work. I put tower up before when I was much younger. In fact, just last month, I gave my tower to a friend here in town, and I helped him put it up. He had never climbed before, but I said, I'm going to give you the tower, and I'm going to help you and show you what to do, but you're going to have to climb it. So I borrowed a gin pole, and we showed him how to use it, and we put the tower up and put that hex beam on top. And yeah, you may remember the show. It was probably about a month ago. All right, so let me make a quick announcement here for anyone listening on WBCQ, shortwave radio station out there on 90. Would love to hear from you. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com. tom@w5kub.com. Send us a signal report. Let us know where you are and if you heard the program tonight. Also, join our Facebook group. There's a link at the top of our website. You can join our Facebook group. Again, if you're listening, go to w5kub.com and you can join the video and the chat room on the web. You know, we've got a segment called Ask Riley. Riley Hollingsworth is retired from the FCC. He was special counsel to the Enforcement Division for the FCC, and Riley is retired, but he still has a lot of contacts and interfaces with the FCC daily. And if you've got any questions that you'd like answered, send a note to our segment called Ask Riley, and you can email it to Ask Riley, ASKRILEY, Ask Riley at w5kub.com, and Riley will answer your questions. We hope to have segments on here where Riley will come on and answer the questions, but if you'll include your phone number, Riley will probably personally call you back and try to answer your question on the telephone. So please help us get some questions in for Ask Riley, and maybe we can have him on in a few weeks when we get enough questions. All right, let's take just a quick standby here for a second, and then we're going to talk about the BITX40 transceiver that I built, and everybody out there is wanting to build one. I'm seeing everybody in the chat room ordering it right now, so you're going to be surprised and amazed when you see this, but I'll be back in just a moment. The holiday season is here. Looking for the ideal gift for your favorite contester? The holidays are just around the corner, and ICOM has an array of radios to fill your stockings or place under the tree. Perfect for the contester on the go, try the IC7300. It's a high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design. The real fun starts here. Features include RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, a real-time spectrum scope, and an SD memory card slot. Push the performance even further with the IC7600. Following in the footsteps of ICOM's flagship radio, the IC7600 has an intuitive operation and the latest DSP technologies, which include digital IF filter, dual DSP, 5.8-inch ultra-wide TFT display, and a high-resolution real-time spectrum scope. Raise the bar even more with the IC7851. Hear what others cannot hear with this HF through 50 MHz transceiver. It has reciprocal mixing dynamic range, crystal clear local oscillator, a spectrum scope, dual receivers, and digital voice recorder. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios. All right, and just let me mention one other thing about the shortwave. If you're interested in having your own shortwave radio show, you can do it now on WBCQ for $25 an hour. Allen Wiener, the owner of WBCQ, has a special, $25 an hour. You can have your own radio show on. No contract, no anything. If you want to do an hour, let's do an hour. If you want to do it weekly, do it weekly, but you're not going to beat that price. So shoot an email to wbcq@wbcq.com if you're interested in having a radio show of your own on there. It could be ham radio. You can play music, rock and roll, country, whatever you want to do. So check them out. All right, it's time now to talk about the BITX40 transceiver. Now this thing, it's amazing. Let me show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like, and the website that you can go to is called hfsignals.com, and there you can see all the information on how to build it, all the diagrams, all the theory, how to wire it up. You can buy it. You can read about how the circuits work. It's very simple, but this board, it's amazing. It's $45 total cost, and that includes shipping from India back to you. If you'll notice, this thing has a lot of, it's surface mount technology. It's very well built, and what they're doing over there, they have a lot of women that needed good jobs, and they put women into the manufacturing of these boards. And when they put this board together, they test it, and it's actually working when they're shipping out. So now what you get with this is kind of a semi-kit. All these parts here are already on there. You don't have to worry about wiring a toroid or anything, or a special part or crystal. And what you do, you get a bag, you get a little plastic bag with the volume control potentiometer, with the tuning pot, the power jack, the earphone jack. You get all those, and you get cables. You solder the cables onto, say, the speaker, and you just plug it in the board. If you'll notice, there are plugs on this board, and it just plugs right in. Very little tuning to do. Now, here's another shot on how easy it is, and anybody can do this. There's a picture of the board, and there's a picture of the external parts that go on there, and you can see you just wire those wires to a little plug, and they plug right into the board. I did that. I put power to it, and the radio came up. No tuning's required. It works pretty much right out of the box. But you can see the instructions are very clear. There's step one, the antenna connector. It shows you how to put the antenna connector on and where to plug it in on the board. Now, you have to provide your own box for this. It can be a metal box or a plastic box. Let's see, there's step two, the DC power connection down at the bottom. Again, you just plug the little plug on there, and you've got a red wire and a black wire, and you hook it to power. And let's look at this one. Here's some alignment. Now, I didn't align it. I made my first contact before I even aligned it. It's not totally necessary, but you can do a little peeking on it, and it's really, really easy to do. There's 3 little steps to do to align this thing. It requires no special tools. You can use your HF receiver and a little milliamp meter. That's all you need to set the parameters correctly on this. So let's see. I'm gonna let you see how it sounds. So I'm gonna turn it on here and show you just about a half a minute of tuning around with it right out of the box. Okay, I'm going to show you just a little bit about the operation real quick. Maybe some tuning around, let you hear the receiver work. Volume's here.
Scheduled for Friday morning.
And tuning is here.
40 by 50 in a shop at the house. Starting to have some Spanish coming up, and it's can't really complain about it. And it's about 130 feet long, and it's on each side. November, 69% humidity, and it keeps on changing from being cloudy and dark to bright sunshine.
This is with a 10K pot, a 10-turn pot.
Because that sounds so much more. LEM changes his call from W1IT. Who would ever change their call from a business? The kiddies there today and got that done. And got back home in time for the day. Rob, thanks for checking in. We'll talk to you later, okay? All right, Dave. Thanks for running and pick me up, buddy. Come on.
Okay, so you saw how it tunes. Now, it's got a voltage tuned oscillator in it, and the radio does drift. I will say this, it has some drift to it, and you have to constantly kind of do a little adjustment to it. The instructions say let it warm up or just leave it on all the time. Now I've left mine on for a number of hours and it still has some drift in it, which is a little annoying to me. Now one of the things that we're going to do though, this thing is built where it is kind of like a homebrew project. It's hackable or whatever you want to call it, and you can turn off that voltage crystal or the voltage oscillator in there, and we're going to be adding an Arduino DDS VFO. Now, I showed you this last week. This is this little Arduino, and I've got a DDS board on top. That's about I don't know, $10 total right there. There's an encoder switch which will tune the frequency, and then there is the liquid crystal display. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make it two lines. One line is going to read the actual frequency, like 7.150.00 kilohertz. And then below it, it's going to say, you know, 100 cycle step or 1,000 cycle step. And by pushing the encoder switch button, you can change the step from like 100 cycles to 1,000 cycles per click or whatever, and it makes a neat little thing. And the VFO here is probably stable 1 part in a millions, so it won't drift. Plus, you'll have digital readout. You can build this whole thing here for probably less than $20. There's a lot of these articles on the net now. I talked to the manufacturer of this kit, and they're coming out with an Arduino board before Christmas. So for a very small amount of money, you're going to be able to get the Arduino VFO to put on here. Now it runs on 12 volts, so you could run it on a little 12 volt gel cell or anything like that. Asher Farhan, I guess he is the designer, or I guess the manufacturer of that radio. I guess he's the inventor. Anyway, I've been in contact with him, and Ashar tells me that he watches the show regularly, so he's probably on here some nights. This is the guy that designed and built that board, and we're going to have him on the show probably in 2 or 3 weeks. He's traveling next week, but we're going to get him on the show, and we're going to talk about this radio again. Now, you wonder how well does the radio work? All right, here's the exciting part. I want to show you my first contact with this radio, and make note the microphone. Make note of the microphone. The microphone they include is a little condenser mic that comes out of it's a little computer mic, and that's what they send with it. You can mount that inside the cabinet if you want to, and you can actually put a jack on there and mount a hand mic if you want to. But I want you to pay attention to the push to talk switch and the microphone I'm using, and I want you to look at my first contact here. This is Whiskey 5 Kilo Uniform Bravo, Whiskey 5 Kilo Uniform Bravo, QRP.
Okay, the Whiskey 5 QRP, let's try again.
Whiskey 5 Kilo Uniform Bravo, W5 Kilo Uniform Bravo, over.
Okay, it's Whiskey 5 Kilo United Bravo, is that right?
That's correct, and we've got a BITX40 board here, probably less than a half a watt. It's amazing. Over.
Okay, thank you, 5 and 9. I understand your QRP. You're 4x4, 44, okay?
Roger. Thank you very much for the contact. ZS6CCY W5KUB near Memphis, Tennessee.
ZS6 Charlie. Charlie Yankee, good night.
Okay, guys, so what did you think about that? Even I was surprised. Here I am, and I want to tell you something too. It wasn't even moving the watt meter. I had a watt meter that this is supposed to be a 5-watt radio, and I did no adjustments to it. I just put it on and used it, and it wasn't even moving the watt meter the thickness of a needle. I mean, it was like 0 power. I'm talking 0 power. And I talked 8,600 miles to South Africa. Now, I was using, somebody says, well, what kind of antenna, what kind of beam did you have? I was using a fan dipole, an 80-40 20-meter dipole, hung out in the trees at about 50 feet is the antenna I was using. And probably we were running milliwatts. Now, since then, I have done the adjustments that he recommends on the piece of paper that comes with it, and I am seeing 5 watts out now. So it probably sound like I'm running an amplifier now. So it's going to be a cool little radio, and it's pretty neat. The only thing I have a problem with right now is the drifting, but we're going to fix that, and it's going to be cool. I noticed a lot of people on here have said they're going to order one. And the thing is, order it, put it in your own box. One guy told me, he says, I'm going to get a military ammunition case. And when you open it up, I'm going to have the BITX40 in there. I'm going to have a battery in there. And I'm going to have a little antenna tuner built in it. And that's going to be his Go radio. And can you imagine carrying that little box around? It's got everything you need to operate, antenna tuner and everything in it, and battery. So that's going to be pretty cool. It's getting close to 9:30, so we're going to be going off the air on WBCQ 9330. We're going to be going off in just a second. So Robert, Lord Robert, if you're there, you can terminate our audio in just a moment whenever you get ready, because probably what we're going to do next is probably not just great for people out on shortwave to hear, because it may be confusing to them. But what I'd like to do this, since it's 9:30, and we'll try hangout in a little while, but probably in the next 15 minutes, I would like to try. Let me see if I can make a contact with somebody from our group here. I would like to make a contact on the BITX40 with someone in the room right now. Now, I think I'm around, the frequency is around 7180. 7180. I'll give you the exact frequency in just a minute. But I'm going to put the camera over there. I'm going to move over to the radio, and I'm going to call CQ with the BITX40 on around 7180. And let me see if I can hear anybody. So fire up your rigs and let's see if anybody out there can make a contact with us. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try to get a camera aimed over that way. That might work. All right. So, need to pay the cameraman a little more. Here's my push to talk right here. That's my push to talk. I've got my microphone mounted on a little suction cup here. So let me turn the volume up. Let me get on 7180. Test 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay. All right, I think I'm on 7180. I heard someone tune up, so maybe somebody's out there. So I'm gonna call CQ and let's see if anybody on the show answers. Hello CQ, calling CQ40, CQ40. This is Whiskey 5 Kilo Uniform Bravo. Whiskey 5 Kilo Uniform Bravo, QRP, calling CQ40. Whiskey 5 Kilo Uniform Bravo. Whiskey 5 Kilo Uniform Bravo. QRP. Anybody copy? Over. All right, I'm not hearing anybody. The band sounds pretty dead, actually. 1,
2.
Ah, I hear somebody.
1, 2. 1, 2.
Hello, this is Whiskey 5 Kilo Uniform Bravo. I hear somebody saying 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, CQ, calling CQ, CQ, calling CQ, CQ40, CQ40. This is Whiskey 5 Kilo Uniform Bravo, W5KUB, QRP. Does anybody copy? Over. CQ calling CQ, CQ calling CQ, CQ40. This is Whiskey 5 Kilo Uniform Bravo, W5KUB. Calling it by. Okay, well, we didn't hear anybody tonight. 40 didn't sound that great, but the radio does work. And it works pretty good. I'm really impressed with it there. Okay, and Andrew K2EZ says he heard a hint. Let's see, nothing Chicago. The band is dead. Yeah, the band is dead. Okay, Walter, I'm on a 7180. 7180, Walter. You want to try it on 7180, Walter? The radio puts out about 5 watts at 12 volts. And what they've done, they have separated the power for the RFPA, and you can run more voltage on the transmitter side. If you want to run 24 volts on the transmitter side, you'll get about 10 to 12 watts out. But at 12 volts, it runs about 5. Let's see. Okay, I was looking for Walter. Well, I think I can work Walter. Let's see if Walter's in there. He might have went to the radio. Let me try Walter again on 7180. I'm gonna try it one more time. Here we go. KJ4UCE, KJ4UCE. This is W5KUB. Do you copy, Walter? KJ4UCE, KJ4UCE. This is W5KUB. Do you copy, Walter? Okay, I didn't hear Walter there. I don't know if he went to the radio or not. Oh, Kevin says, KY7KY, Tom, I heard you. Okay, Kevin heard us. Somebody heard us. Anyway. Yeah, I heard the guy too going 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. All right, very good. Okay, well, I'll tell you what let's do. Let's open up Hangout, and see if anybody wants to join us on Hangout tonight. We can continue the show there. Thanks a lot, Robert. Lord Robert, WBCQ up in Monticello. He's going to get 18 to... Oh, I hear somebody calling me. Let me go check this. KJ4 UCE, this is W5 Kilo Uniform Bravo. Do you copy, Walter? KJ4 UCE, this is W5 KUB. KJ4 UCE W5 KUB.
W5 KUB, KJ4 UCE.
All right, Walter, I hear you. Do you hear me? Over.
Roger, roger. You just came in here probably 4x4. 10 houses away.
Yeah, okay. It's drifting too. Let me see if I can get back on your frequency. Yeah, say something so I can tune you back in. Yeah, Walter, do you still copy? Over. You know, I think I turned the tuning knob here trying to fine-tune Walter in, and I probably got off frequency. But anyway, hey. You saw my contact with South Africa, and I've also talked to a couple other guys on there, so it is working. It's you kind of develop a little knack for operating it, and it's not great. It's not great. It's not great that my volume control and tuning control and everything is laying out to a vice scripts connected to it. But anyway, all right. So look, let's do this. Let's bring up a hangout and see if we can see if anybody can join us on hangout here. Take me a second to get there. Well, looky there. We have Bill in there. Hey, Bill,
Hey,
how
Tom.
you doing?
Oh, well, that was a
What was that, Bill?
very interesting program you had.
Well, it was probably a little different tonight. You know, let's see. Let me check the chat room out here real quick. Hang out for the chat room. Let me see if I can post it. Can somebody copy and paste the chat room out of the topic and post it down in the room for me? That way I don't have to try to do it. Let me check it out here real quick. Dwayne heard Walter out in Wyoming. Let's see. All right.
Hey, Tom.
All right, so who we got? We got Jeff in here. I see Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Good, Tom. How are you?
Doing good, man. I think last week you left us early and went to bed.
I had to get up early.
Yeah, well,
I can hang in for another 25 minutes.
okay, cool. All right, well,
Is Katie and Dwayne in here?
well, they're in the chat room. They're not on video with us right now.
Oh, I think they need to join.
If they can, Katie, Katie, can you join us and hang out? You got a request for you and Dwayne to join us.
I'd love to ask Dwayne some questions.
Maybe they will join here in a second. I see Ron joined us. Well, the demo didn't work out really great tonight with the little BITX40, but you kind of saw it working. I guess it's like any radio. You're gonna make some contacts and some you're not.
Well, and sometimes band conditions just don't make it happen.
Yeah.
I don't know where my video is.
Well, Ron, it looks like you didn't pay your electric bill there.
Huh.
Adjust this a little. There we go. Well, I'll tell you, Jeff, you got a good picture there, man.
Sounds like I got audio.
Well, yeah. Bill, Ron, you got audio.
Yeah, I don't know where my video is. Wait a minute. Am I on the wrong camera here?
Maybe.
Hey, Ron, I had all these troubles in the past. So
That camera, Ron, the camera you got on right there is in a closet and the door's closed.
Oh, there you go. You're focused into.
There he is.
Hello.
There he is.
Oh, it's on the camera inside the laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of the, which is interesting because my little external webcam here is lit. I wonder how I switched that.
Do you know how to go in and hang out to the settings?
Yeah.
I forget. At the top of Hangout, is it the top? Somewhere.
Yeah, it's at the top right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
the
just
little-
click the
three
settings
ellipses.
button over there, and then
Oh,
I
there
think
we
you click video.
Webcast settings.
The ellipse up in the upper right-hand corner. 3 dots.
Yeah, I found it.
It'll give you whatever you're looking for.
Oh, there's Dr. Don.
Doc,
My Chrome.
yeah,
Hey, Doc.
Pop Doc's there. Great.
Got-
He had a lot of questions tonight. That's good. Welcome, Doc.
Oh, there we go.
Good show, good show.
You getting any smoke over there, Doc?
No, we're getting this rain that's just now starting here. I may have to QRT here pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, you need that rain over here to stop those fires, boy. I saw on the news where a part of Gatlinburg is burned down. Even I think
Oh, boy.
Pigeon
It was some,
Pigeon
How-
Forge.
How are you making out with the fire? Anything nearby?
Well,
not near
I'm
me.
you talking about to Doc?
What's closer to you, Doc?
there's not anything close to me right now, but it's we're in the valley to the west of the Smokies, so we don't have any of that.
That's scary. So I watched the national news tonight. That was horrible.
Yep.
Yeah, I watched it pretty much live last night on the Knoxville station. They were remoting from there, and it was heartbreaking. That's where I spend my spare time, is up there in the Smokies.
That is heartbreaking. Absolutely.
Hey guys, let me ask you a question. I bumped the bit rate down really low tonight. Was the video just terribly bad quality tonight, or was it decent?
It was okay.
It froze a few times.
Yeah, but when it was not freezing, was it real pixelated, or did it look fair?
It's all right.
It
Okay.
was okay.
You know, I had it. Man, we're running. We dropped down to about 800 kilobits, which is really low. We usually run about 2.5 megabits. But my my uplink, for some reason, the internet uplink is bad tonight. Yeah, but when it was not freezing, was it real?
No, Tom, it was not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, guys, somebody said we're way past halfway to go to Dayton, aren't we?
We're about halfway, all right?
I think the people that track it pretty seriously past the halfway mark, probably about a few days.
Might have just passed the halfway point.
Yeah. So, no planning for it yet. It's probably still a little early. Don't know what we're gonna do, but I'm sure we'll be there. It's gonna
Well,
be.
what do you mean no planning? You've got your reservations there.
Well,
I've got
yeah,
my
we do.
reservations.
We've got that, but that's all we've got: hotel reservations.
Well, yeah, I'm going to need those press credentials again this year.
Yeah, we'll work on that. Yeah, I set the video on 360p. I went way down, and Arno and Nellen said it's down now on 240p. So, well, I don't know. I'll go back and look at the video after the show and see how it turned out. But that's a neat little radio, and like I said, the founder of the company, the guy that invented it, that designed it, we're gonna have him on the show in a couple weeks to talk about it. Mike, you got any snow up there?
Yes and no. We've had some snow, but it's gone. The green grass was pouring rain yesterday, so no snow.
Now what about Bill up there in Massachusetts, man? Bill, you got any snow up there?
We had flurries, I think it was, on Saturday. It's supposed to be something either tonight or tomorrow, but basically it's to the west of us, maybe about 70 or 80 miles.
Yeah.
I'm just north of the city, maybe about 40 miles, but I'm on the coast. So unless it's coming, in a northeasterly direction, we really don't get as much. I mean, this is going through up Western Mass, parts of Vermont, central New Hampshire, and over towards Robert up there in Monticello. So I mean, basically we don't get anything roughly until like the second week in December.
Yeah.
Basically we don't see nothing.
Well, I got a friend
north of the city. What city?
I live in Amesbury. I live right on the Massachusetts-New Hampshire line on Route 95.
Huh?
I got a friend that lives up in Syracuse, a Hamford in Syracuse, and they get so much snow up here from that lake effects. I think they get 18 to 20 feet per year or something like that. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah. I don't think I'd deal with that.
Yeah.
I'd move to Florida.
Oh, we get that all the time up here. It's no problem.
Yeah, I don't know, but he used to ride a bicycle to work like 10 miles away and had to ride it on the road, and the cars were running off the road. And can you imagine riding in all that slush and snow?
We consider anything up here 6 inches, 8 inches is just a dusting.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be anywhere. I mean, when it's
we've been paralyzed here in East Tennessee.
Yeah, we got
Echolink on one of their local repeaters. In the middle of winter, when it's really cold, we'll get these connects from people down in Florida and stuff. And I know why they're connecting, because they want to see how cold we are in snow, so they can tell us it's 85 degrees where they're at.
Yeah, let me see what temperature it is. It's 60 degrees here right now, but we might get an inch of snow a year. Boy, I tell you, that's pretty bad. It shuts this place down, man. I tell you, all the bread's gone. All the bread's gone in the stores. The milk's gone. Yeah, before that inch gets here. Huh?
Everyone for an inch of snow, everyone's got to go home and make French toast.
Yeah.
Got to buy the bread.
That's why they go to the store and buy up all the milk, bread, and eggs.
That's right.
Well, you'd never survive in the UP.
Are you telling me after a big snow you can go in a grocery store up there and y'all still have bread and milk?
Oh, hell no.
Oh, you buy it out up there too?
It's gone 3 days before.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
it's all gone. It's silly, though.
Our stores are fully stocked all year round. Nobody rushes to the store and stocks their shelves because they're talking about a snowstorm.
Yeah. Well, I like the snow a little bit. I'm a survivalist type. I went to that survival school in the Air Force in the winter, and 15, 20 below zero. So I kind of like it.
You should be able to handle 2 inches of snow then.
I kind of like, but I don't like cold now. I can't even hardly go outside. I don't like cold, but I like it to snow. Just a little different. Maybe a little ice out there.
Yeah, we get it right off. I'm less than a mile from the southern shore of Lake Superior from my house here, so we get the lake effect right off of there.
Yeah, well, it gives you a chance to crank up the generator when you lose power, and you kind of get in that survival mode. You're heating your house and you're running your own generator, and
don't need a generator. We got a good light and power system here.
My power went out yesterday for 7 hours here. I cranked the generator up after a couple, and I think it ran 5 hours.
What fuel do you use for your generator?
I use gas. I looked at a propane or natural gas conversion for it.
Gasoline you're using.
Yeah, gasoline. I looked at the propane or natural gas. There's a company that makes it's called gas snorkel or something. You don't even have to take the engine apart. It from the hose from the propane tank, It's a little flattened hose that basically it goes in the carburetor right under the air filter. You take the air filter out, and this thing fits right in there, man. The air filter goes right back on, and it runs fine on propane or whatever.
Comment?
Yeah.
Okay. We did that at the Cape Ann Club there. We had 2 generators there, and one of them we installed that conversion kit. I mean, it was a tight fit on that rascal.
Yeah.
I mean, we just barely got the thing so that it would work. And then we had a plumber come, and he did something to the gas fitting on the side of the gas meter there that if we in an emergency, all we do is just plug it in and it works.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've tested it and it works, and nobody's been overcome by the fumes and whatever. So I mean, you know, we know at least it's working.
You know, I thought about doing it. You know, gas gets old, and it's hard to store and all that. But you know, I contacted the people. They're down in Mississippi near here, and I said, you know, how long will it run on a standard barbecue grill propane tank? That's what I was wanting to use it on. You know, how long will it run? And they didn't give me any time. They told me a gallon of propane is the same as a gallon of gas. Now I don't know if I believe that or not. I think there's probably an energy difference between gas and propane, but that was their answer to me. A gallon of gas is a gallon of propane. Now, when you take these propane bottles in and get them, well, normally people around here don't get them filled. They just swap them and get them replaced. And they cheat you. They cheat you on the propane in there.
You don't get 20-gallon tanks anymore.
Yeah, you know, I read where you only get 3.5 gallons of propane liquid now instead of 4.5. I think they fill it at 75%. So you get 3.
That's a 20-pound tank, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think it weighs.
I buy it by the pound.
Yeah, I think it weighs like. Hey, don't you work in propane or something, Jeff?
No, I'm refrigeration.
Oh, that's our refrigeration. So anyway, so I'm trying to figure out, you know, okay, you know, if I want to run my generator at night, I want it to run, you know, 8-10 hours. I don't want the thing running out in the middle of the night. So I asked, how long will a propane tank like that run, you know? And they didn't tell me. They said, you know, it's the same as gas. Okay. Well, my gas, I ran 7 hours yesterday on a half a tank of gas. I used about probably 3 gallons for 7 hours, but that 3 gallons cost me about $6, whereas if I get the 3 gallons of propane, it's $18. So I don't know, I just kind of decided not to do it.
Yeah, but if you brought natural gas to it.
Well, yeah, that's true. I could, but my natural gas is all the way on the opposite end of the house, and well, I mean, let's see. It is piped through the house. I guess I could, you know.
Yeah, if you could do the.
It's not that easy, you know. You really need to get a plumber to, you know, do that and, you know, bring the gas down. I mean.
No, you could do it yourself.
You know, I've been known to do stuff like that, but heck, you know.
Of course, we've all done that ourselves.
Yeah. What's the worst? You blow your house up.
Well, I mean, you follow the code, and then you have it inspected. You know, you can. And
you got insurance, don't you?
Yeah, I've got insurance. But I'm sure that I have probably a really smart insurance investigator comes in here and says, it looked like somebody hooked a gas line in wrong or something.
Well, that's why you need to have it inspected when you're finished. That's all.
Oh, yeah.
See, Don's got the tool for finding a gas leak right there.
Yeah.
What, with a cigarette lighter? Yeah.
Cigar.
There you go.
Well, I've used you know, cigarette lighter to find gas leaks before. Yeah, you run it up. You know, you can run it. You know, run that cigarette lighter around the fittings, and if there's any gas leaking, it'll start burning there.
You know what, and that'll work. And that there's, you know, I've seen people do it. I don't condone it, but if there's enough gas when you do the first click, you'd be dead anyway. So
Yeah.
you can run it along the way.
Yeah.
Check the
Salty
gas
water.
tank when you're filling it up. Make sure it's full. Watch your lighter too. In the car.
Gasoline?
Hey Tom, did you see? Hey Tom,
Yeah. Yeah.
did you look in the look in the chat room there?
Yeah.
There's let's see.
I see the 91,000 BTU per gallon versus 114,000 for gas. So there's a difference there. Now Doug says he gets his propane at $1.79 a gallon, but and he goes out and gets it filled. You know, there are places you can take it, get it filled. Most places though, they don't fill it all the way up. If you do any research, you're going to get about 75% of it. That way that that's on those exchange tanks. That way they've been able to reduce their price and make you think you're getting a new tank of gas where they're really only giving you 75%.
Really? So you're saying that if I take one of those exchange tanks and put it on the scale,
Yep.
that I won't see 20 pounds?
No, they only fill
next
those
time
with 18 pounds.
I'm sorry?
You only get about 18 pounds in those cans, that size.
Okay, but if they're advertising that you're getting 20 pounds.
That's what they call them, but they don't fill them that full.
Okay, so 18 pounds, but you're not getting 15 pounds. So some people are saying that we're only getting 15 pounds?
Well, I don't know. I just all of my research shows that all these companies they're saying it's a safety thing. They don't want to fill it up all the way up, and you know, and they can reduce the price and make you think you're getting more and you're getting less. And no, if you take it and get it filled, most likely you can find places that will fill it up, you know, full, whatever it is, 4 gallons or whatever, 4.5. But if you do an exchange, you're only going to get like 75%.
So, does anyone know how much? Yeah, it's one of these 20-pound, bottles that we put for our barbecues. That holds how many gallons?
Well, my understanding on researching it, if you get it filled up, it holds about 4.5 gallons. I guess that's liquid. Now, but if you swap it, you take it on these places and swap the tank. They're going to charge you, and you're only going to get about a little over 3 gallons. They're going to give you about 70-something%. They're not going to give you the full tank.
That little tank.
Yep.
Compared to that 5-gallon water bottle that I have at work on top of the water cooler.
Yep.
That tank doesn't look like it can even hold 4 gallons.
Well, now the tank I'm talking about, it's about the size of one of those water bottles. The tanks that we use here on the barbecue grills.
Well, the regular ones, Home Depot sells. Or the exchange.
Yeah.
They're the 20-pound tanks.
Now I remember way back when I was probably about 14 years old or so. My dad said he's tired of buying these gas bottles for the grill. He's going to wire it right to the house. So he, and it was a good ways. It was a good, 20, 30 feet back from the house where the grill was. And he handed my brother and I each a shovel. And he says, this is where we're going to bury the pipe. And I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I got to go in the house for something. And my brother and I start digging, and half an hour later, he's not back. And I went in the house, and there he is drinking coffee,
Mm-hmm.
While we're out there.
You got Tom Sawyer.
Here it says an empty 20-pound tank will hold about 4.7 gallons of propane.
Yep. Right.
Okay.
Right. So you get about 3.5 if you swap it, and like you said, it's a ripoff. The exchange tanks are ripoff, 17 pounds.
So if you were to weigh it, you would know you're getting ripped off.
Yeah, you can weigh the tank, and in fact, that's a good way to know when your tank's getting empty. A lot of people just pick it up and think, hey, I don't want to run out. I'm cooking hamburgers, don't want to run out. I don't know how much I got. And they'll take it in and swap it, and they may have a gallon left in their tank.
No, I don't take mine in until I always have 2 tanks.
Yeah. So you can weigh the tank.
They got those little magnetic things there you stick on the side of the tank there, and it tells you, with a full tank, it tells you that it's full, and you can see as you use it, it goes down, and when it gets down to almost the red there, then you take it in and get it fixed.
Yeah. Now, I've got
Exactly. I've got 5 or 6 of them in the backyard, so I'm good.
Yeah. Doug also says if you use natural gas and your power's out for a long time, eventually you're going to quit getting natural gas. I guess they use electricity to pump it or something. I don't know.
Oh well, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the stuff hits the fan, we're in trouble.
Yeah, that was Ron, K0HMZ. Rob says if your power goes out, so your natural gas fail. But I when I lived over in Arkansas, we had a big ice storm and we didn't have power for like 2 days. And I was able to run a generator over there, but we tried using the fireplace. I had a ventless natural gas fireplace. So we tried using that fireplace to heat the house, and man, it just, even though it was a large fireplace, it just wouldn't do it. There in the den, I mean, we put quilts on the doors in the den just to try to heat the den, and it almost didn't do it. But that ran for, we were able to use that for a couple of days. It never went out on us.
Well, I mean, I think what they're saying, if the whole grid goes out,
yeah,
you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But I mean, when local, if you lose your house goes down, or the neighborhood goes down because of down lines or something, you're not going to have power, but you're not going to lose that. Same with your water. You're not going to pump any water if that goes down. You won't have any water in the municipal system. That's all pumped.
Well, I don't know. I mean, around here, the water tanks are 150 feet to the bottom of them, and I would think that the gravity would flow that water.
Well, I guess for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, my power goes out. I got a well, so.
Now you got a problem there.
A big 5-gallon water can down in the basement filled up.
Yeah.
Plastic one, because if the power does go out here, I do lose my power to the well pump.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Well, the nice thing about it here, I've got natural gas for heat, and when I run a generator, all it has to do is just run the blower motors, and when those blower motors run, it heats the house fine. So it doesn't take much here for power loss to stay on with a generator.
So when it's 20 below, you don't have any problem. The power goes out for you, huh?
No. I mean, we can survive.
Hey Tom, how did you hook it to your blower?
Well, I didn't hook it to the blower. See, what I've got here is, my background is electrical engineering, so I know how to do all the wrong things. So I've got this suicide plug made. This cord that's got a dryer plug on both ends, basically. Yeah. You plug one end in the generator, and you plug the other end in. I've got in my shop. I've got a 220 receptacle out there where I plug my welder in. Of course, that goes back to the breaker box. So I just plug it in. I plug my generator in there, or I can plug it in the house where the clothes dryer plugs in. Now the thing is, you got to make sure your main's turned off, because if your main breaker's not turned off, you're gonna feed that. If the main breaker's not turned off, I'm gonna put everybody's lights on in their houses up and down the block.
Well, I have a very small generator that I keep in case the heat goes out.
Yeah.
And if the heat goes out, I go down into the basement and I directly wire my heater.
But
I directly open the junction box, I unscrew the wire nuts, and I'll screw a cable onto the.
Man, that's too much work. Just make you a suicide plug and plug it in the receptacle there, and make sure the power's turned off.
That's smart.
And when you do that, hey, when I do that, see, it puts power on every single circuit in my house. That means every light, every receptacle, everything has power. Now that doesn't mean I have to use it. My generator is 8 kVA, so I mean, I'm not going to use that. But hey, I don't have to run an extension cord to the freezers or the refrigerator or to a lamp somewhere. I just turn the light on, when I need it, and turn it off when I leave the room.
No, that sounds like a plan. I don't have that big of a generator.
One year, the ice storm I was talking about over in Arkansas, for 2 days it was bad, and Hey, it was around Christmas, man. I had like 1 million Christmas lights outside, you know, on the house and in the trees, and man, I ran that generator and I lit the neighborhood up out there.
You're going to be sure that Santa Claus.
Dark, right?
Well, yeah. What was that, Doc?
I said you're going to make sure that Santa Claus found you regardless.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Now, see, at the other house, like, look, there's a couple things you can do legally. I mean, if you want to get an electrician and you buy a transfer switch, a 200 amp transfer switch is going to cost you $200 or $300, and it's going to cost you $200 or $300 to have it wired in. But that's the legal way to do it, and that's the way the power company and everybody basically allows it. When you pull that transfer switch, there's no accidental way that your generator can get back to the line. All right, so that's one way of doing it. Another way I did it at my other house here in Memphis was I bought it was a piece of fabricated metal made for my breaker box, and it's screwed on the front of my breaker box, and it went around the main breaker, and it came down, and it had a little tab there, and by that tab I had another 220 breaker that I had a circuit that went to my generator. And you could not turn that 220 breaker on from that generator unless you pull that metal thing down. When you pull a metal thing down, it turns off the main, and it allows you to flip the generator breaker on. You can't push it back up because the generator breaker's on. So you have to flip the generator off, and then you can push it back up to turn the main on. So that's a mechanical.
You made a safety switch.
That's a mechanical interlock, which.
You know, an interlock, which is probably not. Of course, it's not UL rated, but it's certainly your rated, and it would be my rated too.
Well, it makes it impossible. It makes it impossible to have both on at the same time. So
I see somebody in the chat room says you should do a video on one of your shows about the way you've done this. I don't know if you should do that.
Yeah.
I think that's not a smart. That's not.
Well, what I can do, I can wear a mask that night, and I'll get one of those voice scramblers, you know. All right, and what we'll do here is, you know.
I think Tom, the disclaimer should be that this is not recommended, but people.
Yeah, this is not recommended for anyone to do, you know.
But we all fudge things, and we all think that's worse.
Well, I feel very safe about it because I know what I'm doing. Again, electrical engineer. You take somebody that let's say that I don't know. Take somebody else that is not even familiar with electronics, and they may just plug that thing in and leave the breaker on, and they don't understand. See, the line down behind my house is 14,000 volts, and it goes through a pole pig or a transformer, and it steps it down from 14,000 to 220 into the house. Well, I'm putting 220 in for my generator, and a transformer, an AC transformer, works the same both directions, 17,000 down to 220. But if you put 220 in this side, it makes 14,000 come out the other side, and it's going to go down the poles, and then it's going to go back into the other people's house and power their lights. And if you got a lineman up on a pole where a tree limb had broke the line or something, and he's repairing it, he could be electrocuted because you're feeding. You might think it's not much voltage, but that's a lot of power when you send it back the other way.
Back feeding.
Yeah. I really wish, and I wish I had at least a mechanical interlock here, in case I forget or something to flip that. And that's the problem. They're going to say you might forget sometime.
Or the worst that could happen is, Tom, you set that up and then you, for some reason, kick the bucket, and that's all set up, and no one's there to figure out how to take it down when the power comes back up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Oh, hold it! I'm on TV right now. I am.
You're on TV?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I was at a music jam tonight. There, I'm playing my bongo, singing.
You played a bongo?
Oh yeah, my bass guitar. We were at the local library tonight. Local TV station came in.
turn your camera over towards that so we can see it.
They're interviewing me. Look at
Can
that.
you turn the camera? Can you turn your camera?
Turn the camera. Go get the bongos. Let's play something.
Let's see. I want to see this. You got your what? Just keep talking. Mike, talk.
Hey, okay. That's another guy.
Well, I thought maybe you had a wig on. I didn't know who that was.
Oh, there I am over in the far right.
On the far right. Cool.
Cool, man.
There we go.
So,
They got me. Oh boy, now my camera's all upside down.
So Andrea K2EZ says odds are that when the power's off and you didn't leave your mains, if it left your mains on, the power line will effectively look like a massive overload to the generator, and it probably would, because as I said, it would feed back down all the lines where they're good, and then back through the pole pigs back in everybody's house. And I would imagine I'd be trying to run 30 or 40 refrigerators and freezers and electric furnaces and air conditioners. So he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. It would probably.
It's the least you can do for your neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't that kick out the
It would kick the breakers on my generator. Yeah.
Right.
More likely it would. But it's still the danger of sending that down the circuit.
Yeah. For any lineman that might be down the road repairing line.
Yeah, and what if the broken line is just 100 feet from your house, and nobody and it's not feeding anybody else, and he's out there working on it, but
or some kid picks it up on the street.
Now my neighbor last night he pulled his generator over there and cranked it up, and he ran 4 or 5 extension cords in the house, and boy, I tell you, what a mess. He had 3 ways plugged in, and he had a refrigerator slid out from the walls, and he was plugging everything in, and then he was complaining that the dish TV wasn't getting it wasn't working. I went over and I said, look, here's the problem, man. This plug right here has got to be plugged in. I said that provides power to your dish.
Sometimes that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
I got to hang it up, guys. 7-3.
All right. Good night. I'm gonna get out of here too in a minute. I'm gonna go.
Hey, there's Bill One. Hello, Bill One.
I just stopped in to say hi.
Wait, look at there. There he is. Bill One's here.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Who's got it? Okay. All right. We'll see you. Now, Bill One there. He's coming to Dayton this year. He said. He's already got his tickets.
Yep, I'll be at Dayton.
Got his tickets.
Already booked.
All right. Got your hotel yet?
Yeah, we'll be at the Linux and the Hamfest table.
No,
sure,
you
we'll be
gotta
by the scooters or something like that.
You got a hotel?
Yeah, I'll either be getting a room or I'll be crashing with Russ and Cheryl.
Oh, okay. I got you. Well, that's the way we used to do it. We'd take 10 people up there and put us all in the same room. Back then, when we did that, it only cost $2 or $3 a night. But now, you put 10 people in a room, it's still going to cost you $20.
Oh yeah. The rooms are crazy expensive, and so they booked a room last night. We booked it after we recorded the show, and I'm like, yeah, we'll kind of do that, and unless I or anything like that. So they're going to pick me up as they come into town at the airport. Yeah. And then they'll drop me off. so at least right now that's the plan, but it's still pretty far away.
Yeah, I missed the first half of your show, Tom, because I was at the library jamming with everybody there.
Well, look, man, you get your bongo close by?
Yeah. Oh, it's in the other room there.
You need bring it out to next time. Bring it out. And I want you to play me a tune on it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I have my bass guitar there.
So, bongo, let me think, man. Is this one of those 60 things? I mean, did you play that back in the 60s or 50s?
I'm surprised what rhythm you can do with any song with those. I use them all the time. I got a stand for them. In fact, I brought my bass guitar, and there was a new guy that just showed up. He had never been to one of our jams before. He plays a little bass, and so I said, "Here, take my bass. You play that, and I'll play these." And he had a ball.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it just happened that the local TV station showed up.
Wow.
Well, maybe you'll be discovered. Maybe you'll be discovered now, and you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna get ready for this severe weather that we got coming in here, guys.
We were supposed to get it. We were supposed to get it today, but it missed us. It completely went by us and missed us. So it kind of went south of us. It's heading your direction. Maybe you get some good rain over
down the
there.
hatches there.
Tornado watch until 4 a.m. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, it's nice, and it's 40 degrees up here, and the winds are calm, and very nice. Nice out of it.
68 degrees here, and it's gusty. And the front's just about here. So I'm the Skywarn coordinator for our county, so I'm going to get off here and start monitoring a little bit.
No, Doc's going to run.
Yeah, yeah.
Good night, guys.
Don't start any
All right,
fires.
we'll see you, Doc. Good night. Good night.
Good night, Doc.
All right, man. It just makes me mad about the internet connection. You know, maybe I don't know. We're gonna have to. We just need better internet.
Yeah, pretty much everybody could be that way, huh?
I don't know. I got no complaints here.
Well,
Yeah.
something is deteriorating it tonight. Boy, I had to really bump the show down. My
I saw you lowered it a bit, right?
my speeds are like 180 megs down and normally 22 up, and we usually stream up about 2.5 megs per second up, and tonight I kept having to bump it down. I did a speed check, and I was only getting about 4 or 5 megs up on the speed test, and I finally eventually had to get the show down to under 1,000.
Have you got a cell tower right nearby?
Well,
And where do you get your internet? I found out something last winter when I was having all kinds of internet issues. I found out that the LTE cell phone stuff, you know, you got 4G, you got 4G LTE. Well, this LTE band is all 700 megahertz.
yeah.
And there's a lot of times when the cable companies are using 700 megahertz for the 700 megahertz channels for the data, channels in the 700 megahertz range for the data. So if you've got a cable TV pedestal, this is only assuming that you're getting your internet from your cable company. I've got Comcast here, for example.
Yeah.
But if you're close to a cell tower and you've got, let's say, cable company's got a bad ground in the pedestal or something like that, that's close to a cell tower, you'll get the 700 megahertz from the cell tower leaking into the cable and playing hell
That's what
with
they
the
call
channels
ingress.
that they're using, playing hell with the channels that they're using for
Yeah.
for the data
Well,
carrier.
yeah, I've got Comcast here too. Yeah. And it's worked
that
out
can be
good. The
caused
only
by,
problem
not
about
just grounding,
Comcast, the only problem about Comcast, every month they go up on their price. You know, they figure out a way. It's another $3 this month, or well, you know, hey, we're going to up the rate on that. You know, $1 a month and $1 here and $1 there, and I don't, you know. It's amazing how you can cancel everything and get the price down, and then within 2 months it's right back up there where you were.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, here's something I just found on the internet there, Tom.
What's that?
It says, have you ever wondered if the dollar bills in your wallet or your pocket were ever in a stripper's butt crack? If not, are you wondering now?
If not, are you gonna what?
I said, if not, are you now? If you're wondering now, or if you're going to.
I'd love to get it.
Well, mine might have been. I don't know. I mean, you know, It might have been.
I want to know where my dollar bills have been.
You don't want to know, do you?
Have you seen a deal? I've seen this before where you write some kind of little code or something on a dollar bill, or I don't know, maybe just the serial number. And there's a place on the internet you can track that, and as it passes hands, and you can see that dollar bill that you spent here, it might end up in England or somewhere. People actually will put the serial number in, and you can trace that dollar. But I hadn't seen it in a long time.
Oh,
I see that every once in a while.
Oh, well.
Alrighty, well, I'm gonna get out of here.
Hey, Tom, when's John and Lou coming? Are they coming this week or next week or what?
You know, I think it's December 7th. They're coming down for lunch, and we'll meet them for lunch, and then they'll drive back to Nashville.
Okay. I was just curious. That's all.
Yep.
I haven't seen anything on the Iowa breezeway there. I see Keith went back up to the cottage up in where is he? Honor, Michigan. Honor, Michigan.
Yeah.
That's the LP.
Yeah, that's down below the bridge.
Yeah, it's below the bridge.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let's see. He posted a picture here. Where the heck is it? Posted a picture. Let's see. Crystal Mountain. Are you familiar with Crystal Mountain Ski Resort?
Not up here.
Oh, well, I guess it's the local. So we're down, Traverse City, down that way.
It's down, as we call downstate.
Yeah.
Lower.
Okay.
On
the other side of the bridge.
We're up in the better half. The upper peninsula.
Yeah, the UP.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we'll stay 7-3 to all. And Tom, great show. We'll see you next week. And,
all right. Yeah, I'm going to get out of here too, guys. It's after 10 o'clock. And I'm going to go check and see how the show looked tonight. Tidy it up on the recording, and we'll start working on next week.
And Ron, just before I leave, my call is WZ1L. I live in Amesbury, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. I'm Canine ID, and we're in the suburbs of Chicago.
Aha! Suburbs.
Suburbs, yeah.
I'm K8IL, Kilo Echo 8 Indy Lima, and I'm up here in Marquette, Michigan, right in the southern shore of Lake Superior in the UP.
And he plays the bongos.
That's near where K.I. Sawyer used to be, right?
K.I. Sawyer is 15 miles from me. Where you?
Okay. All right. I was there once. That's all I can say. I was there once. I went across that. What's the name of that bridge?
The Mackinac Bridge.
Mackinac. Yeah. Okay.
The world's longest suspension bridge, 5 miles.
Oh my God.
All right, guys, I'm out of here. You guys,
7-3,
you stay in there and stay in the hangout as long as you want to. We'll see you.
Well, I'm going to call it a night.
All right.
Till
Good night.
next week. 73.
All right, thanks for everybody that's still hanging in here in the chat room. Glad we have you in here with us tonight. Help us spread the word. We need to get more viewers out there. There's a lot of people that still don't know about our show, so we need to get the word out. Let's see, what are we going to end this show with tonight? Well, I don't know. I'm going to end it with my zip line in North Carolina. This is me zip lining in the Smoky Mountains. We got a home over here in North Carolina, so we come over occasionally.
That's a nice break, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's hang tight here.
Okay.
Wait for that clear. Yeah, I mean, to me, this is like the best time of year for zip line. It's beautiful, the temperatures are great. I love the fact that there's like no bugs out here.
Yeah.
We pretty much don't really have bugs. That's great. In the summer. I think I've had maybe Alright, so go ahead and hop on down. Alright, we ready to go? Yeah, make sure you pan around with that camera. Alright. So see you on the other side. Alright.
Alright, that was our last trip over to the Smoky Mountains.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There's the answer code.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.